From the alley-oops at Kezar to the glory days at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way. From off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback Podcast time, and we are going to be talking about the biggest threat to the 49ers in the NFC, the entirety of the NFC. We talked about the NFC West. Now it's the entire NFC. Alex, what are you thinking?
Thinking a lot of things. First and foremost, how we could have stretched this out into tons of content if we broke down each individual division. But see, we're not that desperate for content like some people out there. So get excited, because we're not going to drag this thing out.
No.
And you should hit that subscribe button right now and join the Cutback crew if you haven't already. Don't forget to like the video as well and share it with the rest of the faithful so they can hear our takes on all this as well. Because for me, in my head, there's only one team. A singular voice out there in the ether of the NFC that is an actual problem for the 49ers that they really, really need to be worried about. And it might surprise you folks. Because I believe it's the Green Bay Packers.
Ooh.
And the reason I believe it's the Green Bay Packers is because you have a pissed off Aaron Rodgers. And pissed off Aaron Rodgers, I mean, listen, we've been talking on the podcast here and on the show for a while about how a pissed off Jimmy G is good for the 49ers. And it is. It's very good for the 49ers. But a pissed off Aaron Rodgers is also very good for the Green Bay Packers. And he is pissed, folks. He's very, very angry and very, very upset. And Aaron Rodgers is a consummate professional. I do believe he's going to be playing this year. And he's going to be playing with a chip on his shoulder. Because not only does he want to show everybody in Green Bay that they're a bunch of dum-dum faces, he wants to get paid and go play for a winner. And the best way to do that is for him to win in Green Bay. If he's able to win in Green Bay and buy Jordan Love a little bit more time, then they're going to want to give that man everything that he wants. And so I am very nervous and very concerned about a pissed-off Aaron Rodgers. They have, I think, offensively the pieces that are necessary to have success. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing for me is, while I don't know if their offense is better than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady down there in Tampa, I do have a feeling that every year the Packers get a little bit, they improve a little bit over what they did under LaFleur so far. In 2019, they got ran by the Niners, and they were a much improved team from the year prior. And then this last year in 2020, they were just a little bit more improved. And I think they're going to continue to take those little steps, and I think those little steps will end up eventually adding up to something big. The question is how many little steps can they take between now and the time the playoffs come in 2021? That's a question that remains to be seen. But every year, too, Tom Brady gets a little bit closer to the decline and not being the guy that he is, Tom Terrific and all that fun, wonderful stuff. And I think I have the same amount of questions defensively for both teams, between Tampa Bay and between the Green Bay Packers. But if you were making me put my money on someone right now in terms of who has more motivation to have a big season, it's Aaron Rodgers.
I think first off, I would look inside the division. We've already talked about the NFC West, so I won't go too much into it, but if I was going to say the biggest threat in the NFC is probably coming from the division. Just because you have to get out of the division to be able to win. And if you can't, then it's going to be a problem. There's 3 good football teams besides the 49ers in the division. After that, once we get outside, to me, the obvious choice is Tampa Bay. I think you have Tom Brady. He's proven that he can win so much it's almost sickening at this point. And then they have a great defensive line. When you have a great defensive line, you're able to put pressure on the opposing quarterback. You can dominate. Look what they did to Green Bay last year. They absolutely obliterated them. And that is the problem I have with Green Bay. You brought up Green Bay is Green Bay struggles against pass rush. What does Tampa Bay have? Good pass rush. What does the 49ers have? Good pass rush. Aaron Rodgers is always running for his life against these teams. So to me, the Green Bay Packers are a good matchup for the 49ers. The 49ers can absolutely hammer Green Bay. When it comes to Tampa Bay, if you have a Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback and Tampa Bay is able to get pressure on him, he will struggle. They have weapons on the outside. They have Mike Evans. They have Gronk. They have AB. So they have a lot of guys. Plus, they have a very good run game. They bring back these running backs and they can run. They have a good offensive line. So they have a lot of talent. They are a good matchup for the 49ers. Where they have their issues, though, is Tom Brady is not mobile. So when you get these 49ers pass rushers able to get downhill on him, he's going to be in trouble. They are going to be able to get after him, bother him, and get him in trouble. Plus, we do have some good matchups as far as our safeties can handle Gronk and those guys.
Yes.
Gronk is not this. If this was Gronk in New England, we'd be talking about a whole different thing because he's slowed down a lot.
I would safely say that it's Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even put Aaron Rodgers I'd have a hard time putting anyone in the NFC West over Tampa Bay if we're talking about a young, healthy Gronk.
Yes. I do think the 49ers could still take advantage of Tampa Bay's secondary. I don't think it's that wonderful. They rely a lot on their pass rush. So if the 49ers' improvements on the offensive line really help with that run game and then ultimately help with the play action and being able to throw the ball, they can defeat Tampa Bay. Whether that is Jimmy Garoppolo or Trey Lance is to be seen. But I do think Tampa Bay is a formidable foe for the 49ers. I don't see Green Bay as a matchup to that point because I don't think Green Bay did enough for sure on the outside. And it seems like every single year their offensive line is lackluster. They just lost another big-time center, good player. And so that means more times for the 49ers to feast.
I mean, I feel that is 100% accurate. And by no means do I think that Green Bay is some formidable foe. I just think they have the best shot. I think it's because you have a younger, more mobile quarterback in Aaron Rodgers than Tom Brady, who's got the kind of arm and has won a Super Bowl and knows how to get it done in this league and a lot to prove. I think that's what makes Green Bay the most dangerous right now is Aaron Rodgers having a big fat chip on his shoulder more than anything else. Because I would argue, I wouldn't argue, I would say that Green Bay probably has more holes overall as a team.
Yeah.
Than Tampa Bay does at this point in time. But as I said, I got to give the LaFleur some credit. That team has made small, steady improvements over the last 2 seasons since he's been there. And while Aaron Rodgers, I know, isn't happy with the situation is better than it was 2 years ago.
Are there any other NFC teams that you see besides Tampa and Green Bay that are even remotely a threat to the 49ers? I mean, outside the NFC West, of course, because I think we all believe that the NFC West poses big-time threats to the 49ers, but anyone else?
The Bears are about 2 years away from me being serious with them and seeing what Justin Fields ends up turning into and developing. I'm not worried about the Red Rocket. And the reports are right now that Justin Fields looks great and Andy Dalton may be in trouble. And if that's the case, then I'm really not worried about
There's reports in San Francisco that say Trey Lance looks great and Jimmy Garoppolo's in trouble.
Thanos, man. That dang Thanos. I swear, he's always starting stuff around here. Gosh. And then after that, there's really not a lot of teams. If the Washington football team had actually done something at the quarterback position, I would be legitimately worried and concerned.
You're not worried about Fitzmagic?
I am really not worried about... Brian Allen is not playing corner for the 49ers this season, so I'm really not that worried about it. Fitzmagic has also had this thing of going to a new team and then absolutely tanking once he gets there, his first year of being in a new spot. So that has been a reoccurring theme for Fitzmagic, right? He has a great year, he goes somewhere else, the career extends, he continues the journey, he gets to the new place, and absolutely just plays like doo-doo garbage. Then the new quarterback comes in, or whoever it's going to be, they go for a little bit, and then that guy doesn't pan out, and then Fitzmagic comes to the rescue and recaptures the magic. That's been literally the journey of Ryan Fitzpatrick for as long as I can remember, and that's a long time. So if it wasn't Fitzmagic, I would feel really nervous about that Washington football team because they have the defense to be successful. They got to put it together on offense, though.
Yeah, when you're looking at the NFC East, it's pretty much just the football team that you worry about winning in the playoffs. I think the Giants are going to be much improved, and I wouldn't even be shocked if the Giants don't win the division. But I don't think the Giants match up well with the 49ers. Mm-hmm. And that is one of the things when I'm looking at all these teams, I'm looking at the matchups and how they're going to work. And in NFC East, I think only the Washington football team matches up with the 49ers. And even then, I don't think they match up that clearly. The 49ers should have beat them last year, and they didn't have a healthy starting quarterback.
Thanks, Nick Mullins.
Yeah. So that is true. As far as the North goes, you brought up, the Bears, maybe Minnesota, but still Kirk Cousins is the quarterback. So I'm not worried. And then now New Orleans is Drew Breesless. So you have Jameis, and I believe in Jameis. I just don't know if they have enough on the defensive side of the ball to be able to stop the 49ers. I think that this is a good time for the 49ers and a good time for the NFC West. If I had to rank these teams in order of who are threats to the 49ers in the NFC, I would say Tampa Bay is 1, the Rams are 2, the Seahawks are 3, Green Bay 4, and then Arizona 5.
I would say the Rams 1, Green Bay 2, a close 2, Tom Brady and the Bucs 3.
Ooh.
And then after that, you have your Seattle's at 4 and the Cardinals at 5. I think we both have the Cardinals and the Seahawks roughly in the same spot. My thing with Tampa Bay is I didn't think they were world beaters last year. I think they just got hot at the right time, and that's half the time. That's half the battle, right? With Super Bowls and winning a championship, especially in the NFL with how much parity there is. It's about playing right and playing good at the right time, right? You saw the Giants the year they took out the Patriots. They just hit their stride when they were supposed to.
Yeah,
that's what I think happened to Tampa Bay last year. I don't think they can recapture the magic this year. This might be one of those teams that you see that has that Super Bowl hangover after winning one where they take a step back. I know that they brought everybody back, so that typically doesn't happen when you do something like that. I'm not sold on this Tampa Bay team. I know a lot of people are. A lot of people think of them as the perennial, favorites coming into this year. I'm not in that boat.
I am, and I think that you're right. They got hot at the right time. But anytime that you win a Super Bowl, you should come in the next year as the perennial best team.
Fair.
They still have one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
Accurate.
They have a very formidable defensive line. And anytime you put an outstanding pass rush with one of the greatest quarterbacks, I'm always gonna be kind of leaning that way as a possible team, that the 49ers can struggle with. The one thing I have that I'm going to keep going back to is Tom Brady is not very athletic. And so that means that if this defensive line can get to him early, if they can get a push up the middle, what do the 49ers do? They improved on the interior defensive line. Zach Kerr, big bodies that can push people back. They got Kinlaw. That will make Tom Brady uncomfortable. Anytime Tom Brady's uncomfortable, he is prone to make mistakes. That does happen. If you've watched a lot of New England, which I know both of us have, you've seen him make mistakes. The 49ers can definitely get it done. I do want all of this, though. I want the 49ers to have to run a gauntlet in the playoffs. Give us Green Bay. Give us Tampa Bay. I want them both because I want them slayed. I want there to be absolutely no doubt who the best team is. And I want the 49ers to win and go to the Super Bowl. And then the real question is who from the AFC is going to be waiting. But who is the best team in the AFC? That's a question for another day.
That is.
But I think that we have a pretty good idea. But the first thing you have to do is get out of the West. And if you get out of the West and in the playoffs, I think you're right. These two teams are waiting. Maybe even the football team. Maybe the big people. We'll see.
We're going to see. It's going to be very interesting indeed. Let us know down below right now in the comments section who you think the biggest threat to the 49ers is in the NFC West. Is it someone from in the NFC? Is it someone from the NFC West is what I meant to say. Or is it someone else that we're not thinking about? Or are you going to be like the hundreds of people who commented in the Facebook group and said it's themselves? We want to hear from you. Let us know down below. And while you're down there, typing that away, don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Share the video with the faithful. Let the faithful know about this great content. And don't forget to check out the merch store. Cop yourself some sweet 49ers Cutback gear that both of us have got on. And there's plenty more in the shop, so you don't want to miss any of that. Look at it right over there. It's glorious. It's beautiful. And you'll love to see it. Make sure you cop yourself some of that. And boy, oh boy, Ant, we got a hot one coming up with this AFC topic. But like you said, got to take care of the NFC West. Got to take care of the NFC first.
Yeah, and I think people would love for a 49ers versus injuries or 49ers versus themselves. I mean, yes, that is 100% accurate. You can't make mistakes. You've got to be healthy. You got to be on the field. I just think that's funny that people would start with that. Obviously, we're talking about a specific thing, but if that's where you want to go and you want to be that guy, do it.
Their own.
Do it. I'm okay with that. I was a coach that used to say the only way we're going to lose is if we beat ourselves. It was 100% accurate. So I'm okay with that to a point, but just enjoy the topic at hand. We all know that is the first thing that people talk about is you can't make mistakes. You can't beat yourself. I'm
shocked. Really shocked that you can't do those things and be successful. It's crazy to think.
Yeah.
That if you're beating yourself, you can't win football games.
Oh yeah, because we all know if you lose the turnover battle, you're obviously going to win football games.
Also, if you don't win warm-ups, you might as well just get back on the bus and go home.
That's true. That is true. You have to look good, feel good, play good, and if you don't win warm-ups, hey, we lost warm-ups. Get on the bus, huh?
It's time to go. It's time to get on out of here. Don't have to worry about that. The 49ers Cutback, we got the warm-ups down pat. We're ready to go. No, we're not going anywhere. We're taking over the podcast landscape. We're taking over the YouTube landscape and plenty of other landscapes coming soon. So make sure you're part of the Cutback crew. And until next time, 49ers fans, you stay safe.
And remember, the right way is always the 49ers way.